Hey guys, what's going on? It's Don here from Novaspirit Tech and welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to be installing XFCE for desktop for WSL. So let's get started. So you can now actually run Linux inside Windows 10 environment, and it's not really an emulated system like you would with VirtualBox and running a full complete install. And that takes up a lot more resources than what we're doing right now, because you don't have to allocate, say, 4 cores or 4 gigs of RAM just to Linux. This will actually share the system resources with your main system and run just as well. Actually, if I was to say, I think it runs a little bit better. So what we're doing today is actually going to be installing a full desktop environment, XFCE, so you can run GUI applications and actually have a full environment running without the need of a virtual machine. So let's get to it. All right, guys, so to get started, we would have to download Ubuntu for Windows. Now, to do that now, you could actually go to the Microsoft Store and type in Ubuntu over here, and you grab your version that you need. I'm just going to grab the Ubuntu right over here. Now, I already pre-installed this, so all I have to do is just hit launch. But for you, when you hit install, you don't have to log in. You could just install it through here. Once you're done installing it, you would actually get a little icon like this called Ubuntu, which is something we need. Now, it's going to set up for the first time, but like I said, since I already did it, it's just going to pop me right into my little prompt over here. So from here, you could actually just do sudo apt install xubuntu desktop. And it will install the full desktop for you. But if you don't want to use the entire desktop and you just want minimal components, you could do XFCE 4 and XFCE 4 terminal. And that will give you the components, but like it's a stripped down version. It doesn't have like the settings and all that stuff for you. So what I would recommend is actually just using Ubuntu desktop. Now here, it's going to take a while to install. You see how many files you got to go through, and the operation will take about 1.6 gigs of space once it's done. So I'm just going to hit yes and let this go. While we're waiting for this, there are a couple of things you do need to install. One is XCX server, which is an X server for Windows. And I'll leave a link down in the description for this, as well as pulseaudio, because yes, we are going to get audio working as well, so we can get this passed through. So those are the two components we need to install, and I already pre-installed this and I've already downloaded this. I recommend building a bin directory, which I did over here called bin, and that's where my pulseaudio is, and this is where I'm also going to save all the scripts that I need to start up the XFCE desktop. So first I'm just going to extract this. So I'm going to go over here and do 7-zip extract here. And in there, you see how there's a few files. So we're going to have to modify something in here first, just so we could get the audio working in Windows. We're going to head into etc directory, go into pulse, and you should see daemon and default PA. You see these two files? So I'm going to edit this file called default.pa. I'm going to use my notepad. Now I'm going to open with, it's going to be notepad. And scroll down to right around here. Where is this? Right here. Load module, module wave out, sync output, source input. And you have to do record equals 0. This is a new update from Windows 19 and up, 1903 or 1909 and up. It will stop pulseaudio from working if you don't put this option in. So we're going to add this in, and also we're going to scroll down a little bit more, and you see where it says load module native protocol TCP. We're actually going to uncomment that and add auth -ip-acl equals 127.0.0.1, which is localhost. Once you're done with that, you could save this file, and we're going to open the next file, which is the daemon config. I'm going to head over into notepad and scroll down to where it actually says exit time idle, or line 39. Uncomment that and turn this into -1. Save that, and that is it. Once you're done with this, you should be able to start the pulseaudio. And if it doesn't, that means the configurations are wrong, but you should be able to start it. I'm gonna hold shift, right click here and open PowerShell. And I'm gonna type pulse, pulse audio. Something happened here and it doesn't let me do it. Oh, there we go. I don't know why it did that the first time, but I was able to just run it again and it worked. So I'm gonna Control C this to break it, and that is it. Close this out, and I know my pulse audio works. All right, so the next thing we need to do now is to get our X server working. Now, after you installed it, you would actually get a desktop icon called X Launch, and that's something we need to use, which is right here. Now, because we're using a desktop environment, we're actually gonna be using one large window, or you could do one large window without title bar, or if you want it full screen, you can. So I'm just gonna do one large window. Hit next, start no client. I'll just leave this as default. Here is where I need to add some optional parameters. And what I need to add here is actually software cursor -sw cursor. This will actually force it to use the cursor that is provided by XFCE instead of your Windows cursor. So that way we get a little bit more customization out of it. Hit next. Now I'm going to save configuration. I'm not going to open this. I'm going to hit save configuration, head over to my C drive bin, and I'm just going to call this config-xlaunch, whatever it saves. Save that over there and finish. Now I could actually test how big I want my windows and play around with this if I want, but I'm not going to be using this yet. I'm just going to exit this because you can actually set the resolution size. So for me, I have like ultra wide monitor. I don't want it to fill up the whole screen and I just want to use 1080. I could adjust that to what I want, but we'll test that in a little bit. So here in the bin directory, now we have a config.launch. So every time I double click this, it'll actually run that window that I need. Next, we are going to create a little batch file here. So I'm going to do new text document, and I'm just going to call this startx.bat. Now, if you notice that I actually have extensions in the back, you have to enable that if you can't see it. You just go over to, you go to View, Options, or actually it's right here, File Name Extensions. If you uncheck it, you won't see it. If you check it, you will see it. So that's how you could change it into a bat file. I'm going to edit this file, and the first prompt I'm going to be putting in is start/b. This will make it so it doesn't start its own window, and we're going to run config.launchx. Oh no, it's xlaunch. Okay. Next, because we just got Pulse Audio installed, we would need to boot the server. So we are going to do start, 2 quotes with B, then put it into quotes C:\bin, because that's where I installed everything. And the folder is actually called Pulse Audio -1.1 /bin /pulse audio.exe, and that will start the Pulse Audio server. Now the next thing we need to do is actually get it to run XFCE. So I'm going to pre-type this out. So ubuntu.exe run if -z, so what is that, string not null, yeah, -z $PID of XFCE 4-session, close that if statement. Well, it's not close it, but then export display equals 127.0.0.1 :0.0. That means display 0. Export pulse server. We need this just to get the audio working. TCP :127.0.0.1 semicolon XFCE 4. This will start the session. And then once that's started, it would actually pause the command, you could say, until we close out the session. So after that, we would do pkill just to make sure that everything closes cleanly GPG pipe SSH dash agent, close the single quote, semicolon, task kill.exe / im pulseaudio.exe, that will kill pulseaudio -f, task kill again, exe / im vcxsrv.exe exe semicolon, and then we'll end the if statement. And that's basically it. So this command will basically say, okay, if the session is not running, then we could export the display. If it is running, that means the display should be exported already, so we don't have to. And then export pulse server, so we have audio, start the session, and when the session gets killed, when we log out, it will actually kill the GPG agent, and it'll also kill the pulse audio server, and it'll also kill the VCX server, which is our X server, and then it'll close everything basically cleanly. And then once you're done with that, we have our little batch file. Now, I wouldn't run this yet until this is finished, and as well as we would test the installation before we do this, just in case we need to set something up before we run this. So I'm going to let this go. Everything is all pretty much preset. I just need to wait for this now. All right, we are done installing this. So let's test out everything. Now, one of the options that I was telling you earlier, if you needed to change the resolution, I'm going to go back into this area and hit edit. And you see how all my options are staying the same. We would need to add the resolution here if you wanted to. So I'm going to do screen number is 0 because that's the screen we're going to start off with. And the resolution 920x1080 will be the resolution I want. And since I have multiple monitors, I'm going to have to place it on monitor 1. So you see the @ symbol 1. Hit next, save the configurations to the same file, replace it, finish, and you see how it starts it up in 1080 mode? Now, since I have this started up, I can now run. I might have to restart this, so I'm going to close this out, restart it, and I'm going to do XFCE 4 session. Is it XFCE session? There you go. Hit enter. This should pick it up. I'm going to use default configs. And there we have it, our XFCE desktop. This will always pop up for the first time. But yeah, here we have it, our very own desktop. And all the applications are installed here, and you could start customizing to your needs. So you actually have all your settings now that you can want to change. And best of all is that you have, here, let me show you if I have HTOP. You could see that it actually shows 16 cores because my computer is 16 cores, and it shows the amount of RAM that I actually have on my computer. So instead of like a VM where you have to allocate 4 cores or 8 cores or whatever to your VM or however much RAM, it's sharing the same resource pool as your computer itself. So this is the huge benefit of running this way. If you're planning to run like a heavy code that requires a lot of RAM or CPU usage in Linux, and it's a GUI interface, I don't know, whatever you want. But as far as the browser goes, they are a little broken, and it's because of the recent versions. I can't seem to get it working, and there is a bug report out there for this. So no matter what I do, Firefox doesn't work. Neither does Chrome. Now what I did find did work is Epiphany. So like Chrome doesn't even want to start up. So if I was to go over to internet and download Epiphany, it'll actually be called web. Epiphany seems to be working. So I could actually go over to google.com, and now it's making me look bad because it's not working now. Now to check if you have audio, all you have to do is look for pulse audio, which I don't know where it is over here. Pav control, there you go. Oh, it's not working right now because I didn't run my script. So let's try this. I'm gonna log out. And there we have it. Everything is started now. I'm going to hit applications. This time, if I go over to PAVU control, it's establishing connection. Another thing I completely forgot. All right, so now that I know it's not working, I'm just reading the error log and their dbus system is error. So what I need to do is actually go into my terminal again and do service start dbus, or dbus start. Yeah, there you go. Dbus start sudo. And I would probably have to restart this again, or actually start this up again. So let me log out. All right, let's run this again. And let's go to terminal emulator, system CTL, because I should have enabled it. Enable dbus. So this way we'll start up with the system. Forgot to use sudo. And let's check this out to see if it's working, or I have to restart it again. Oh, there we have it. Wave out sound mapper. After we started that the dbus service, it worked. So we should be able to get audio from our Linux install now. All right, so now that it's working, maybe it was the dbus thing that I needed to get working. Let's head over to YouTube and just play something really quick just to see if the audio is working.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Don here from Novaspirit Tech, and today
all right, I could see it's working. It's got a little skipping, but that's the browser, I think. But it is working, the audio. Okay. Now, that is it. All you have to do now is do what you want. Customize it, run the applications, install whatever you want. I tend to customize it myself, and I would install my own theme, which is the Awadi theme. And let me just do a time lapse of how I would make it look at the end of this. So here we have it, guys. This is my configurations that I've had so far. I'm using wallpaper flare to find this wallpaper, and because we have access to the main system by going into file system, mount, and your drives like C drive, I could access whatever I download from my regular PC, as well as all the other stuff that I added was adapter. Here, let me show you. Go into settings, go into appearance, and it's adapter I can't even say it. It's right here. And for the icons, I'm using Papyrus Dark, and the wallpaper is just to match the color scheme that I kind of have going on. I do like using Tilix as the terminal browser because I can tab browsing, also transparency, and you can see it's actually moving very smooth. And over here on HTOP, I showed you earlier, you do get all the cores of your main CPU, and as far as the memory usage as well. So yeah, it's working very well over here. And if I was to close this session out, it would actually close out all my windows and gracefully close everything out that I need to. But yeah, so far everything is working. I tested all the applications. This is something, this is called the whisker menu. So you could just add this through the panel, going through panel preferences and going to item. You could just add the whisker menu plugin, and you get a menu like this, which with all the search features that you want. Office is working as well. I just tested that while I was going through the installation. So LibreOffice works pretty good. Yeah, that's about it. Now, in conclusion, you can actually run multiple different types of desktops. You don't have to stick with XFCE. You can actually run GNOME or Pantheon like Elementary OS, and KDE, which I don't think I ever got KDE to work. But yeah, you could actually run different environments, not just XFCE, but XFCE does run the smoothest out of all. As far as the Firefox and the Chrome issue, there are bug reports about it, so I'm pretty sure they're probably going to fix it. But for now, I'm sticking with Epiphany just so I could get the browser going. But if I am really to browse the web, I would just use my Windows instead of having to go into my Linux. It is more for GUI applications, so I could test something or try something to see if it will work in Linux environment. So yeah, it does run a lot smoother than if I was to run a VM, and I like that it is shared resources. So that's it for me, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and help me share this video so I could get more exposure. If you guys are new to this channel, consider subscribing, also hitting that bell notification icon so you know when the next video is going to be out. And as I say in my nerd cave, hack till it hurts.